Hello, my name is Owen. Today I'll be doing a quick review of Michael Crichton's Timeline. What I want to do is give a brief overview of the book's about, tell you things that I liked, and tell you the things that I didn't like. Jumping straight into it, this is a science fiction novel that takes place, it's about a billionaire, entrepreneur, mad scientist type who experimenting with like quantum technology, and he developed the technology to basically travel in time through like different dimensions and stuff like that. And a bunch of historical like archaeologists like focused on like medieval period end up get sent back in time and hijinks ensue essentially. So I will say that just as a quick like one sentence pitch, this is the science fiction book for fantasy fans. Therefore, it hit every single one of my boxes because there's things that I like. I like a good old-fashioned adventure. I like fantasy. I like medieval history. It's all in one. It's all in one in this book. So going into things that I like, the premise could not have been a better fit for me in my interests. I like to read medieval history, just to like learn about the time period. I love that stuff. And obviously I love fantasy books and just like the realistic angle at medieval history, but it's still an adventure. And it's just like, it's just the concept hooked me straight away, and it was a fantastic adventure. And there's this one character who is like one of the historians, and he just spent his whole life practicing like medieval swordsmanship and like jousting and stuff like that, just because like as a hobby, because he was so interested in the time period. And that would be me if I had any ounce of motivation to do anything physical at any times. But he goes back in time, obviously, and obviously he's so cool back in time because he knows this stuff, so he fits right in, and it's great. I would say that this story is very fast paced. It's like around like 450 pages, so it's not short by any means, but it's a very tightly packed adventure. The stage is set fairly quickly, and then you're just boom. The main characters are back in time on their mission, and this author does a really good job, and this is the author of Jurassic Park, by the way, so you know he's like a legend. It sets the stakes by like introducing a ticking clock feature, so they have like 2 days to do a certain thing. In this case, their main mission is to save their professor who got accidentally sent back in time. So they have 2 days to do it. So like throughout the whole book, it's flashing between the group that's sent back in time and the scientists in like the present day who are trying to like fix the machine that gets like messed up. So it's the 48-hour clock that's continuously ticking down, and they do a lot of small tropes, not tropes, but like writing techniques to continuously raise the stakes. Like there's this one feature which I really enjoyed where the machine, like how they set it up, the machine knows in advance if people are coming back. So, cause like time's like weird. So like the scientists in the real world will know like 2 hours in advance if people are coming back and how many people are coming back. And of course it malfunctions towards the end of the book. So it's like, everyone's coming back, or are they? We don't know. The number is fluctuating. So it's like kind of convenient how the author sets rules just to break them to add suspense. So that kind of gets cheesy at some points, but like the ticking clock, you know, as soon as they introduce the 48-hour clock, you're gonna be going down to the last minute to like raise the stakes and stuff like that. So the concept was perfect. I think the characters are interesting. They all have their own little arcs, and just like the exploration of modern day people in this medieval time. And it's to my knowledge at least, this author took its research very seriously. So like the medieval period is accurate, and it's just like, it's super fun and super interesting to see like the realistic medieval storyline compared to like normally fantasy, where it's all a little bit like loftier, a little bit more, not magical, but like more magic feeling, I guess, like a little bit like noble in this, but like the real world, not like that at all. And also there's an interesting theme in this book about how modern day people like underestimate people from a long time ago just because they don't have like the modern day like technology or like information. We assume that they're like dumber than us, but in reality like they're just as smart. They just didn't have the stuff that we have today, which is like interesting theme, which I really like being explored. Going into things that I didn't like, I do wish that this story was just like it. I can't give like specific like plot notes, but I just wish it did a little bit more. I felt like the story was a bit too simplistic, and I can't, nothing comes to mind what exactly it was missing, because it's a fairly tight story. So they go back in time, they have to save the professor. Obviously they keep getting split up, their machines like malfunctioning, different problems arise, and like at the time they jump into this time period when there's like about to be an epic siege, right? They're caught in the middle of a battle essentially, and like the nobles are all like crazy, they're evil, like it's crazy stuff. But it was just missing something in terms of the plot that I feel like it could have been taken to the next level. And I just think that I can't exactly put my finger on like what part of the plot was like weak, but it felt very, it felt almost too structured if I had to put a word on it. It felt very like the story structure would be our group of heroes enter a scenario. What's going to happen is one of the characters is going to get separated, then they're going to be in trouble, then they're going to get away, then they're going to get back together, one of them gets separated. It's just, it felt very like repetitive almost at the end, which is a shame, because like I said, this concept was perfectly for me, and it was still an enjoyable story, but what takes it away from being a great book, it was just missing, I don't know if maybe it was missing a twist, or it was missing just like a change of structure, a change of goals in like the third and like second act. But at the very end, it just felt like, and I think honestly the ticking clock hindered it in this way, because like if there's 12 hours left, I know they're going to be stuck here for another 12 hours. So when it says like, oh, we're all together, like we could leave, I already know you're not gonna be able to leave. And like, that's not just because like the story's predictable, but it's just because like the restraints you set on the story means that you could only do so much. And I'm like aware of that. And like, I knew as soon as like the thing started malfunctioning, I knew like probably not everyone's gonna make it back. So like, who's gonna make it back? And I don't know, I just felt hindered by its own structure a little bit. And I wish it would have delved deeper into the story, or maybe made some of the characters that are in the back of time more interesting, so that maybe they could play like a bigger role rather than just following our heroes that are time traveling. So maybe that was the problem, but I don't know. It was disappointing to me that the story didn't take advantage of its concept as much as I would have liked it to. But like I said, it's still a fun book, and I still recommend it if you're into sci-fi, if you're into like medieval history. It's a very fun read. It's just not a great read. Like I really enjoyed it, but I probably just wouldn't read it again. But yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. And one of the other things I thought was really interesting was honestly some of the modern day parts in the modern day technology. The explanation of it in the very beginning seemed very realistic, which I think is another good. I'm still getting into sci-fi, very new into it, but the explanations felt like they made sense to me, because it was kind of like a new version of time travel. And I love exploring different versions of time travel. So this one in particular, I feel like I'm just talking in circles, but this version in particular was like, one of the characters asked like the mad billionaire, he's like, what about like the grandfather paradox? Like, won't I be like changing history? Like, what if I kill my own grandfather? And he basically says in this version of time travel, like their explanation is like, it's impossible for you to create a paradox. And usually that's because like some time travel, like I feel like Harry Potter, like Prisoner of Azkaban, their time travel is everything that's happened has already happened. So you going back in time, you're just going to do what's already happened, which is like Harry, like thinking like his father hated him, but it's really just him. Like that's always going to happen, because you're always going to go back in time and do that. But it was more of the sense like this one is, you can't kill your grandfather because the universe will not let you, and you will either die before you get to your grandfather, or you'll kill him after your father or your mother is already conceived. So you are incapable of changing history because the universe simply will not let you, which I think was a unique take on time travel, and it seemed like an actually reasonable explanation, even though it's kind of like the universe as like the will of the world or whatever, like preventing things. But it made sense to me as a concept, and I love just like time travel and like the different explanations for it. Because like there's one hand, like you step on a leaf, everybody turns into like gremlins. Then there's the nothing can change because it's inevitable. But this was like a different take on that version, which I enjoyed. So overall, a lot of fun to read. Not a great book, but a fun book, and I would recommend it. Maybe if you want to delve into some medieval history and a fun adventure with modern day science and time travel. That's all I got for you guys. Be sure to like and subscribe. It helps a lot. And also, I'm still doing a free book giveaway up until December 19th, which is next Monday. So go to that video on my channel, fill out the form. You guys can win a free book. Check it out. Thanks, guys. See you later.